Wade Wilson is no longer on death row or any form of isolation or solitary confinement whatsoever, for that matter, despite being given the death penalty, which pretty much requires the inmate to be housed on death row all by themselves. In fact, info from Florida Department of Corrections' own website and database shows he has it better than ever these days. But one thing about where he's at now, it leaves a major opportunity open for karma to come his way at the hands of a dangerous inmate. I'll explain everything. Let's get started. Now, last we knew and were informed, Wade Wilson is spending his time in a very secure, very no-nonsense maximum security prison called Union Correctional Institution in Florida. That's changed in a very sneaky update. I had a tip from a viewer who told me to check it out. Thanks to them, I looked up Wade Wilson in the Florida DOC and their website and database, and it turns out Wade Wilson has been moved right under our noses, off our radar. Where did he get moved to? Suwannee Correctional Institution. Okay, and if you want to know about Suwannee, let me tell you, it's a lot better than where he was, which doesn't make sense because everything we've heard from real public record official disciplinary reports, Wade Wilson has been breaking rules left and right, causing problems, causing altercations with inmates, getting into trouble with corrections officers, not following the rules, doing things he shouldn't do. He's a very problematic inmate, but now he's getting special treatment. He's been sent to a prison yard, which is, according to other inmates I've spoken to who have recently done time in Florida state prisons, and these are the two channels here, Pino and YouTube Streets, have both done time in Florida prisons, and I got information from them that tells me, by all means, Suwannee Correctional Institution is way better. I mean, that is such a much more preferable prison yard to be on compared to Union Correctional Institution, which is, regarded by most people as the worst place to be in Florida. How did this happen? Let's take a look. Real quick, just to verify this for you, give you confirmation and prove it to you. I mean, I'm not just talking out of my long john butt flap here. You see it says current facility, Suwannee CI. This is a change, a major change, but current custody, maximum. That matters, and we'll get into that in a second. Current release date, death sentence. So there you go. He's got the death sentence, death penalty. You need to be on death row, but he's not. Do you know why? Because Suwannee Correctional Institution, they have a work camp. They have a minimum part of the yard, which means minimum custody. This is just the best, you get the most opportunities. You don't have a fence at that part. There's no barbed wire fence. You can leave the prison sometimes and work at outside places, like free labor, just work at local places around there or trash pickup, those types of people. You get a lot more privileges. That is a minimum camp. I'm not saying that he gets to do that because it still says his custody is maximum. But the point is, Suwannee, you could sum it up as they got something for inmates of all custody levels. They got minimum, medium, and maximum. But what they don't have, the one thing they don't have, this is confirmed, is a death row. They do not have a death row. So there is nowhere and no reason to house someone who has the death sentence and should be on death row, like Wade Wilson, at Suwannee Correctional Institution. And in fact, to do you one further and make you a little more angry and a little more confused, if we scroll down right here, it says confinement status, not in confinement. He is not confined. He is not in any form of isolation or solitary confinement. Now, I'm not saying he's in general population. I would say that's a stretch. And according to Pino and YouTube Streets, former inmates in Florida who I've talked to, and they know all about Suwannee and how that operates, he's likely not in general population, but he is in what you would call, the best way in layman's terms to describe it is an in-between. You're not in isolation, but you're not in the full-fledged general population. Around 100, 150 other people at a time in a big cell block, a big dorm building, if you will. He's in a subsection in between, but what that means, you read it here. He's not in confinement. He comes out of his cell at the same time that any other inmate in Gen Pop comes out of their cells, and he comes out and he mingles. Now, there's probably anywhere from 12, 15 to 20, 25 inmates in these isolated cell blocks. He gets to be around other inmates. He gets to play cards. He gets to play games. He gets to talk to them. He gets to spin his stories. He gets to make, he gets to make phone calls, probably off of their PIN number, because his, as you see here, privileges are still suspended, including visitation status. If you're not allowed visits, I can tell you, visits get suspended. That's the next step after your phone calls get suspended. So if you see right here, visitation status suspended, as we see here, I guarantee you his phone calls are suspended too. But that doesn't mean anything. That's nothing. He's able to mingle with other inmates. That's the whole thing. He's probably getting on cell phones. Now he's learned my calls get released when I make them from my own inmate PIN number phone account. He's using cell phones. He's using other inmates' PIN numbers. That's just, and that's not something only Wade does. That's just the law of the land. That is the norm in prison. If you want to make a call that you don't want to be tied back to your name and your account, you use someone, you pay them. What do you pay them? Maybe a honey bun, maybe a dinner tray, maybe a pair of socks. I don't know. Whatever it's going for in that part of the prison, whatever the scarcity and the supply and demand is, it varies. But, I guarantee you, it's nothing he can't do. So that's probably how he's communicating with people. So he's coming out and he's mingling and mixing. He's around other inmates. He's living the good life. He gets rec time. He's not isolated. His mental health isn't deteriorating anymore. He's moved up from death row. He's got a better prison experience than what he is required to have. Why? After all the trouble he's caused within prison, that is how you keep inmates from causing trouble in prison. You send them to further punishment. You don't send them to a better yard. So I don't know why they did this, and there's two reasons why they might. One is disciplinary. According to YouTube Streets and Pino, it could be disciplinary. Because we know recent headlines, this is by the main media, credible media, who got their info straight from the prison. He has had two people on death row, when he was on death row, threaten his life. They were so fed up with him for some reason or another. They threatened his life and said the first chance they get, trust me, they will get a chance. I don't care. Even if you are on death row, they will get a chance. They're going to. And so maybe he's causing so many problems that they labeled him a disciplinary and moved him for that, because they don't want to be responsible for when something inevitably happens to him. The second possibility is it is a mental health self-harm situation. Maybe he's made claims, things like that, and he's had to be moved to a different location. Honestly, I don't know how I feel or how confident I feel in either of these possibilities, because at the end of the day, you've moved him to a more favorable position when he deserves to be on death row. He is allowed to be around other inmates, and just that, the socialization, he's just on a better yard overall and all around. And I could spend hours explaining the intricacies of what it really means when you're an inmate living a minimal life and every little thing means the world to you. Every little new privilege, even if it's just a molecule better, it means the world to you. And so to be moved onto a more highly regarded as a privileged yard compared to the worst yard everyone believes that you could be on, that's a treat in itself. And there's no telling how many benefits he's receiving at this yard. So now he's mixing and mingling around other inmates. You get more freedom, you get more opportunities, you're moving around. He's networking, he's socializing, probably getting his hand on more drugs, getting his hand on cell phones, living an all-around better life. And this is such a slap in the face to the victims, if you ask me, and their families. But there is one thing, a negative, a downside, if you're Wade Wilson, not if you're us, who hates Wade Wilson. That comes with being moved to this yard, because I also have information that, just like I said, this yard is not just for privilege, not for just minimum, harmless, protective people. This yard has an area for everyone. You have some of the most dangerous people at this yard also. That means, and it is confirmed, this yard is riddled with members of the Unforgiven prison gang, which is the primary gang that was after him and wanted to harm him because he got these white supremacist tattoos on him without being ever initiated or associated with the Unforgiven prison gang. That's called false claiming. That is a major violation, and it is always looked at by everyone in prison to that gang. It is your responsibility to violently and physically handle whatever inmate was falsely claiming to be a part of your gang. So they want him. The Unforgiven are on that yard. And even, I'm not going to name any names to protect my sources, but one of the leaders and most influential members of that gang and most dangerous is on that same yard right now as Wade Wilson. Aside from that, who runs the yard? My sources tell me Sex Money Murder. That is the branch of the Blood prison gang. You know, for reference, Young Thug, the rapper, that's what he's in. One of the most popular, most dominant, powerful branches of the Blood Nation prison gang. There are many, but the most dominant and powerful here and in this prison system in Florida is the SMM, Sex Money Murder Blood Gang. They control that whole yard. So he's got to watch out. He's really got to watch out, because you can't go around people with a swastika under your eye and on the side of your head and think somebody ain't going to do something to you. There's a very good chance now that he's around other inmates, hey, money can get paid, bribes can be taken. Opportunities are wide open for someone. I think it's only a matter of time before we hear a headline. Something has been physically and violently done to Wade Wilson now that he's at this new place. And you know what? I don't know. Call me a conspiracy theorist. I try not to be, but maybe that's the Florida DOC's plan all along. We don't know. We'll just have to see. But at least for now, there's your update. That is breaking news. Let me know what you think about it. What are your theories? What are your comments? Let me know down below in the comment section. And hey, as soon as I hear something else, you better believe I'll be back with another video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Hi, I'm Dr. Christina Green, and I'm the dentist who helped Jumpsuit Pablo get his smile back. But it wasn't just about his smile. It was about getting his health, his confidence, and being able to fully live again. If you've been hiding your smile, or you think that full mouth reconstruction is out of reach, I want you to know that your medical insurance may have benefits to cover this surgery. Every day, we help people just like you. To see if you qualify, just scan the QR code or email me directly. I'm Dr. Green, and I'd love to see if I can help you.